Hello everybody, as I'm sure you've all heard by now, the Los Angeles Kings and the Winnipeg Jets have been involved in a sign and trade for Pierre-Luc Dubois. Before we talk about that, please make sure to subscribe. If not, no big deal. Now, let's get into it. So what was involved in the trade? We saw the Kings, of course, trade away some players, some younger players that are interesting here. They traded Gabriel Vilardi, they traded Alex Iafallo, who isn't young, but he's not old, and then Rasmus Kupari in a 2024 second-round pick in exchange for Pierre-Luc Dubois, who just signed a 8-year, $68 million, 8.5 AAV deal with the Winnipeg Jets before he was traded over, so that effectively means that he is here to stay in LA. Now, a little basis here, Pierre-Luc Dubois has played about 2.5 seasons with the Jets now, and in that time he has 143 points in 195 games played, not too shabby, but he didn't seem to vibe super well in Manitoba, and it seems like his agent basically said at the start of this season, hey, you know, just to be open and honest, we really don't think that we want to sign an extension here, and we want to kind of see what Pierre-Luc Dubois' options are going to be elsewhere. So if you want to kind of get those wheels going in that direction, we just want to be open and upfront with you. Now, he is an RFA, or he was. I think after this season, they were going to have the ability to, use that RFA status on him. But of course, now with this new deal, that is not anything you have to really be concerned about, as he is now signed through the 2030-2031 season for the Los Angeles Kings. So what did the Kings receive? Well, they really received a decade of Pierre-Luc Dubois nearly, and that is kind of interesting for two reasons. First, you have a reliable center, in my opinion, for the post-Anze Kopitar years. Now, Pierre-Luc Dubois should be about that point where he's hitting the peak of his career. He's had 25-plus goals the past 3 seasons. He's had 60-plus points, I believe, the past 3 seasons. So it does at least give them an option to say, maybe he's not Kopitar, Prime Kopitar especially, but he is a guy that's going to be able to help us out down the middle in the very long-term future, so that's good there. But another thing, too, that I think is kind of interesting here is the fact that this could allow Quinton Byfield to focus more on development and be in more of a sheltered role. Not saying that he's going to be a bad player or anything like that, but it really is nice to say, well, we've got these two guys that are probably going to be our top 2 centers this upcoming season. At worst, or at best, I guess whatever you want to phrase it as, he's going to be a third-line center that is protected a little bit for a younger guy. That's never a bad thing, and I do think that this could be one of those things where it gives him a little bit longer to say, this is how we want to improve your game, and this is how we want to see things develop to where he could be a top 2 center for them in the coming years. What does Winnipeg receive? Well, they receive value for a guy that really didn't want to be there, which is always a good thing. Vilardi and Kupari are both guys that are 23, if I'm not mistaken, and I think they both might be RFAs. Vilardi is a guy that I think a lot of people are kind of hopeful for his future. Kupari, he was drafted in the first round. I think he was picked 20th overall a couple years ago, and he's kind of an interesting case too. He played 60-some games this year. Iafallo is a piece that I think a lot of people are overlooking in this deal. He's not 30 yet. He's 29. He's got 2 more years on his deal. Could be a trade piece down the line, but he is a guy that's probably going to give you 40 points, some good defense, so some good two-way production there for a guy that could be valuable for them in the foreseeable future as they do a rebuild or a retool. I'm not really sure, but also I say at the same time, this really gives them a chance to play around with their roster a little bit. This is a team that has a lot of problems, I think, in the foreseeable future. Bowness might not be the guy to be the head coach there. Of course, he seemed to rub heads or butt heads with the players a little bit after their season ended, thanks to the first-round exit to the Vegas Golden Knights. So he might be gone. There's a lot of guys that are older that are on expiring deals after this season that really want to probably play their last, golden years, whatever you want to call it, on competitive teams. I don't really think that Winnipeg is going to be a competitive team in the years to come. So this could be the tip of the iceberg in terms of shipping some of these guys out and getting some of these younger pieces to kind of see exactly what talent they have to work with in the future. But I don't think that it's going to be the end of the world because a guy like Vilardi might not be too bad. And again, getting a second-round pick, all this stuff is kind of interesting to see. Who do you think won the trade, though? That's what I'm really interested to hear about. I've heard people say, oh, man, the Kings did pretty well here. Yes, the money is a little bit much, but having a guy like Pierre-Luc Dubois for the long-term future is great for us down the middle, whereas I think a lot of people for the Jets are saying, we got some young, interesting pieces here, and they could really help us out in the forward group. So I really would love to hear your thoughts on this because it does seem so divisive. But anyway, make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody, stay safe. Have a great night, and you go love hockey, all right? Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.